The conventional view is that the North is predominantly Muslim, the South is predominantly Christian. The reality is considerably more complex than that, and there are Christian minorities in the North and Muslim minorities in the South. Further, Islam is different in the North from Islam in the South. In the North, Islam is so-called Emirate Islam. That is to say, Muslims owe both religious and secular obedience to traditional Muslim leaders, the Sultan, emirs, and so forth. In the South, the area around Lagos, for example, in Yoruba land, Islam is essentially affiliative. In other words, you choose to be a Muslim just as you might choose to be a Presbyterian or a Methodist. And the result is that most Yoruba families include both Muslims and Christians, and they celebrate each other's religious holidays. In the North, if you are born a Muslim and you convert from a certain perspective, you are committing treason. And in traditional society, you would be subject to the death penalty. Obviously, in secular Nigeria, murder is murder. But the traditional view is that to leave Islam is a form of treason. Not true in the South. Nigerians like to say that they are the most religious country in the world, and there is a good deal of evidence that that is true. Routinely, events are ascribed to the action of God, or alternatively, God's decision not to act. In that sense, the mental outlook is very different from the kind of Western secularism with which we are familiar. In terms of public practice, all meetings will open with a prayer. Virtually all meetings will close with a prayer. If the participants are overwhelmingly Christian, the prayers will be Christian. If the meeting is mostly Muslim, the prayers will be Muslim. If the meetings are mixed, the opening prayer will be done by somebody from one religion, the closing prayer by another. Religion infuses the daily lives of most people. That has eroded quite dramatically over the past 5 or 6 years. It has eroded because of a breakdown in the traditional system of power alternation at the presidential level between the South and the North. President Goodluck Jonathan, a Southern Christian, ran for election in 2011 when it was generally regarded as the North's turn to hold the presidency. Further, he won. Further, he was supported by some of the leaders of the traditional Islamic establishment, the Sultan of Sokoto, the Emir of Kano, the Emir of Zaria, amongst others. What this did was it alienated many ordinary Muslims in the street from their traditional leadership. Boko Haram draws on ways of thinking which are deeply ingrained in northern Nigeria. What is different about Boko Haram is its use of violence. Most of the indigenous Islamic reformers in the North have been nonviolent. There has been no bloody backlash in the South against Muslim minorities. And there has been such backlash in the past, so it's one of the options that's out there, but it has not happened. Here and there, you see signs of fear. For example, House of Fulani or Kanuri traders coming from the north being rounded up on suspicion of being part of Boko Haram. But then, so far as I'm aware, in every case they have been released. So there has not been the kind of Christian backlash against Boko Haram that lots of people were afraid might happen.